Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. It is time for EECS 498 Game Engine Architecture. And it's going to be a bit of a sleepy lecture today. We don't have any super pressing matters, but in case you haven't seen the announcements yet, we do have some relating to the exam on Friday. Okay? And a reminder, that exam is going to be on Friday, 5 to 9 p.m. That is more time than you're going to need, okay? In almost all cases. It's going to be in 1670 BBB. And we got a couple quick announcements for you, and then I got a Game Engine of the Day for you. Actually, you know what? I kind of want to do Game Engine of the Day, because as soon as I announce the exam stuff, you're all out of here, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. By the way, I don't think you're going to want to leave, because I got a certain document here that might be of interest, okay? Now, I'm not going to be able to show you this document, but I can't help but wonder, wow, this is a pretty valuable piece of paper right now, and I'm wondering what the eBay price could be. Anyway, you don't have long to wait. Very soon you'll be able to see and read the exam all you want, okay? So look forward to that. All right. We have a game engine that is very special around here. It's one that maybe doesn't get a lot of attention these days. It's called Zenilib, and it has a big-time history with this university, this campus, and with our beloved EECS 494. This is the engine, Zenilib, that was the initial engine of 494. Unity didn't really start blowing up. It kind of started showing up a little bit in the mid-2000s. It didn't really start blowing up until, 2010, 11, 12, that era. And that's when Jeremy Bond took over EECS 494 from Professor Laird. And then a few years later, in 2017, I would take it over from him. And we made the switch to Unity when he started teaching the course, okay? Before that, it was Zenilib, and this is an engine that was created in 2005, I believe. It was created by a guy named Mitchell Block. His nickname is Bazald, and he was a former president of Wolverine Soft, very active in the game dev community around here. And he was also a former IA and GSI of EECS 494. So it's kind of crazy. Imagine teaching a course, and then one of your assistants is a great game engine developer. And maybe, I think I could have just had Ravi make the engine for me this semester. That would have been pretty awesome. But that's kind of what happened for the original version of 494. So this is an engine that has a website. You can check it out, zenilib.com. It's got documentation. It's got getting started. It's got project files you can download. I will say that it's a bit of a wild project file. Zenilib as an engine is broken up into a lot of different projects. And wouldn't you look at that? SDL, huh? I heard that's a pretty cool library. No surprise they're using it. Maybe we should do the same. I've never been able to get this engine to build. And Mitchell's very busy. I believe he works at Amazon Game Studios now. Worked on their New World game. So I don't really want to reach out to him just yet to ask for help. But it's a big game. There's lots of documentation on it, big engine. Lots of documentation on it. It was used for a number of semesters. This is a very C++ heavy engine. It does not have a concept of scripting. It is very C++ heavy and very much about rendering and helping you easily get 3D models, rendering. And so it's fairly different. It reflects a very different time in EECS 494. These days in EECS 494, our course philosophy is to be as pragmatic and prudent as possible. We want to make a game. And if you want to make a game quickly so you can start thinking about design seriously, you should probably grab an off-the-shelf engine in most cases, okay? We grab Unity. It's a great beginner language. ecosystem. It's got a great C# language. It does the job just fine. But in EECS-494's early days, when the course talked about game design, it was usually referring to how do you get a game to run, and not necessarily some of the softer design objectives that we cover in the course these days, okay? So, yeah, old classic 494 was all about let's get you some C++ experience building a game, learning about some lower level topics like physics and rendering. If that sounds familiar to anyone, right, that's kind of what our class here is trying to do, right? That's why game engine architecture was created. We got all these students who can make great games in C# and Unity, and Stardock won't stop complaining to me about seeing the same Zelda game every single year from 100 different candidates and no hardcore C++ projects. So, you know, that's why we created this course, but 494 used to be that, kind of. Okay? It's a 3D engine. You didn't code this engine in 494. You just learned to use it. And that took a good bit of time. When you look at some of these games I'm about to show you really quickly, they're simple. They are not super advanced from a design perspective. But in that era, you know, making games was not as efficient. It took a long time to get your game to compile. And a lot of things were fairly hard. You can't just throw a rigid body on something like we can do today. All right, you had to program some of that up in the original version of EECS-494. This engine is very popular on campus in that 2010 era, partly because 494 taught it, so it was the main engine that most people knew. The students who took 494 brought that knowledge to Wolverine Soft in game jams, where they used it to make plenty of games. So there are quite a few games out there that have this approach. Before I show you the games, one interesting architectural thing is that ZeniLib has kind of an interesting approach to game states. It does have a concept of a game state, and this is kind of sort of like scenes. But they're stacked. So they use a stack data structure, right? For instance, you might be on a main menu, gets put on the stack. You click the play button, the main menu is still there, but the gameplay gets put on top of that main menu into the stack. And so now you'll process the top of the stack, and then, okay, the game has ended. So you got a result screen that's another state on the top of the stack now, which is on the gameplay state, which is still there but not running, which is on the title screen, which has been hanging out. Okay, that's how I understand it. You can read about this approach more here. It's very unique. No other engine has this. It's not a surprise at all. Anyway, you can read about it. It's very interesting. And I'd maybe like to talk about with Mitchell about why that choice was made one day. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look really quickly here. The game showcase page, I was struggling to find the ZeniLib games I knew about, but I found them. I found them, and they've got a nice little list here. This is only a small number of the ZeniLib games. And some amount of work was going into this as early as 2004, 2005, 2006. I want to show you ZeniMaze here, just to kind of prove to you that, yeah, this is a 3D engine, okay? And that is not, it's not a small feat, okay? We got an entire course dedicated to 3D graphics now, okay? And you're probably going to need that entire 4 months, okay? It's a tough topic. You can run around. You can grab little Pac-Man dots. That's it. It's kind of a tech demo. I mean, the website says this is basically a tech demo. So we're going to take Mitchell at his word here. I want to find something in here. Oh, yes. Does anyone know what this is? We got the original version of the Wolverine Soft logo. Okay, that was around even in my time. That's Wolvie right there. See that? Wolvie with no E. Okay. Anyone know what this is? What we're looking at right here? Very classic computer graphics concept in the back. It's the Utah teapot. Why is it called Utah? What's that about? Yeah, where a lot of graphics innovations took place. So University of Utah, maybe you don't think about them very much, but you should. Very good graphics programs, a lot of history over there. They got a really great game dev program over there too. Jeremy Bond said they got punked by Utah this year. Utah beat them in the rankings for #1 public university for game dev.
Yeah, we read some of them at GDC. They said that 20% of the University of Utah, which is the flagship university of that state,
Is game dev?
Yes, game dev.
That's weird. Utah does have a game dev scene, not a huge one. They have one in Salt Lake City. I believe that's where Avalanche Software is. They do the Just Cause series. They do the Disney Infinity series before that got axed. They did Hogwarts Legacy, I think. And who knows what they're working on now. Warner Brothers is kind of a little bit strange at the moment. What on earth? Okay, let's show you another one I want to show you. This is one that was made by my EX494 GSI, Isaiah Hines, who then went on to work at Turn 10, the Forza team. I had some advice from him one day that I never forgot. It's fantastic. He told me that often in game development, the distance between an okay-ish game and a phenomenal game, often very small. Sometimes a level that's just not working will click once you get just the right balancing of numbers. Once you have just the right number of enemies in just the right place, you move them just a little bit and everything is amazing. You got a platformer and you've got this awkward jump you need to make, but if you move the platform slightly up, the jump arc just fits perfectly into the player's movement, and they can just speed run and it just feels incredibly smooth and elegant, okay? That's what he's talking about, which is to say that a lot of the difficulty in game design can come from just those small little tweaks, okay? Sometimes you don't need gigantic, big new features. Adding more stuff often does not improve your game design. Often it's about taking what you've got and really figuring out a philosophy for how it can all work together, okay? And how you design levels, how do you explore these ideas and topics. So anyway, Coriolis Station, I haven't played this for years. I remember playing this probably back in 2012. But I remember it being very fun. It's a gravity-based game. This looks like it's going to be a Macintosh app. It's got a .app on it, so it looks like I'm out of luck, right? Nope. They threw a .exe in here, inside of the app. Click Accept to save current rendering. Escape to reject. What happens if I hit Escape? Oh, XML document couldn't be loaded. So I got to find an XML document in here and edit it to get what I want. It was just that kind of era, okay? But then again, maybe we shouldn't talk with all of our JSON business, okay? One thing I'll say is that if you go in and look for stuff in here, oh, this actually does have a lot of editable stuff, but most Zenilib games didn't have explorable, human-readable assets, okay? Our game engines by default are moddable. Zenilib by default compiles everything into an executable and you can't edit anything. It looks like this team did expose some of their stuff to XML. This game was made during Sid Meier's summer game design camp that he held here. He used to do that kind of thing. He doesn't really like to travel anymore, and that makes sense given his age and the spookiness of the pandemic. But let's give it a shot, okay? Okay. Configure video. Okay, it looks like Mitchell actually helped with this game. What on earth is this? Is this the resolution? Can I make it go up? We're gonna hear this a lot. 14 by, what should I do? 700 maybe? Okay, this is good enough. You can all deal with this. Okay. All right, so I can walk around. Oh, I do not have a controller. Uh-oh. Oh, I can press X. Compilation complete, all systems online, rotation of space station is stable. Reduction of rotation speed will reduce the Coriolis effect. Okay? This is good game design, right? It's guiding you. It's getting you to experiment. It tells you what the controls you need are just in time when you get there and not before. What is this? Hello? You are running. I guess all your bugs have been sorted out. Okay. It's hard to control your physics in this game. It's a bit awkward. Jumper bump. Yeah, Coriolis effect is different from normal Earth gravity. What on earth is this? So we need to fix this stuff, I think. Oh, I wasted my time. Okay, 1. Okay, what do you have to say? Climb back out and do a running jump and watch for spikes. Oh. When I click, I get launched toward my cursor, I think. Okay. Oh, goodness. Cool particle effects. Looks good. Sounds good. All right. So it looks like due to the windows, you have a different physics jump at kind of different times, it seems to me. What is this? Stand still to jump higher. Okay. All right. So you'll get a feel for the physics in this game as you play it. And it has those indie platformer kind of mid 2010 era vibes. Oh geez. Right. Oh, okay. Oh no. The controls are very awkward. I feel like I'm spinning. Anyway, okay, you get it, right? And it'll bring you back to the hub. You'll collect these discs or whatever, and you'll eventually get to the end of the game. This is to say that the engine was fully capable of 3D as well as 2D, okay? Which is a very impressive feat. Mitchell did a lot of this as a grad student and undergrad student, okay? Right? And then he got his PhD and went to Amazon. And so you know how busy you are. Now, what happened if you said to yourself during the semester, I'm just going to build my own 3D engine by myself? Okay, because there wasn't really any knowledge on how to do that on campus at the time. Okay, no courses to take to do it. So very impressive stuff. We should be very grateful for the contribution of ZeniLib, and it's an important part of Wolverine Soft's history. So anyway, that's why I like to talk about it. Anyone have any questions? If you do manage to get this building on a platform, let me know. I'd very much like to experiment with it, get a feel for what engine design philosophy was like back in those days, okay? All right, I've got some announcements for you. Number 1, the glossary of the exam is available now on the Discord in the announcements channel. The glossary might get some additions or some tweaks. Probably nothing too big, however, before Friday. But you look on that glossary, I didn't put anything on there if you didn't need it, okay? So it might give you a little bit of a hint as to some of the stuff you might be doing. I also, I accidentally let slip something to one of the students today. A topic that's not going to be on your exam. You know what that is? And I know it's going to break your heart, okay? I'm really sorry about this. There's not going to be any matrix stuff on the exam. No linear algebra. And I'm sorry. If you want to get some of your fill, you can go take Math 214 or 217. Would be a decent idea for aspiring game devs. A little bit dry, but useful material maybe, okay? Exam categories have changed. The section on collisions in Box 2D, this is another big one. All you Box 2D fans out there, I'm sorry. The quiz we just did is going to be the last of your Box 2D, okay? Box 2D is gone, and collision is gone on your exam. So we're back down to 100 points total, which is a really nice round number. Now, Box 2D is not completely gone. It has snuck its way into a couple of the other sections, okay? So you might see a little bit of it on there, but not a ton and nothing deep in the slightest, okay? It's going to make the exam shorter. My staff is telling me the exam's too hard. I'm starting to wonder whose side they're on here. You're going to want to give them very good evals, okay? And so anyway, the exam should be a bit easier now. The Game Engine Landscape and History section has been changed to Game Engine Landscape, History, and Miscellaneous. So you never know what could show up on there. Nothing too deep or crazy. But the exam has no matrix-related questions. And a reminder I put out the other day, please remember to bring a sharpened pencil, okay? Pens, I think, are very typical for exams, but I don't think you're going to want to use a pen on this exam. I got the feeling you're going to be moving your code around a little bit, okay? And so the pencil is going to be the best idea. Get one with a half-decent eraser. Bring it sharpened, because I'm not going to have a sharpener there. I might have a few spare pencils, emergency pencils, for those who forget, just a small handful, though. That's it. We've been going through the exam, trying to make it easier, trying to make it more clear for you. Hopefully we succeed, but if not, well, at least it'll be hard for all of you, right? So the curve can kind of take care of that a little bit. I went through the grade book, and I doled out some grades, some extra credit grades. If you haven't submitted to certain autograder stuff, I put zeros in. That makes your full total grade that it predicts at the end a little bit more realistic, but keep in mind, that's up to me what you get at the end, all right? Which is to say, if you end up with a failing grade, I'm going to be looking at your game engine, decide whether I want to pass you or not, okay? So continue to put in a good effort. Got a few more days before I think 4 or 5 days before the autograder shut off. Make it as far as you can, okay? You're going to be feeling pretty good if you get toward the end of homework 7, right? At that point, you've got an engine that I would call, that is indeed an engine, okay? But I'll also say, if you don't have Box 2D in there, you're kind of missing out. Box 2D is a really fun technology. It's nice to use, makes your game lively, makes it feel good, and your engine will be in much better shape after you implement much of homework 8. So maybe it's something you do over the summer if you don't quite make it there during the semester, okay? And the nice thing about doing it over the summer is that you don't have to worry about off by 1 pixel issues on the autograder, okay? All right, so does anyone have any questions on anything that I've talked about today? After the exam, we do still have lectures. In fact, we're going to have some guest lectures. For those guest lectures, we want you to be here and be a good crowd. And I'm talking to everyone watching the live stream and the YouTube. There will be extra credit for attending those lectures. Okay, you'll get participation points for showing up and being a good audience for Stardock. They got a really cool engine. You're not going to believe this, but it's C++ core with Lua scripting. Wow, what a coincidence. They use a technology, Lua technology that's pretty popular. It's called Lua Bridge. And one thing that is really cool about their engine is that they found a way to multi-thread and make that Lua very highly parallel, which is important for their engine as they have games. They make a lot of games that are just massively high scale, right? Galactic Civ. They are your space massive simulation company. That's the kind of stuff they do, okay? I want to make a space-themed survival horror game because I think that's the closest I'm going to get to Brad Wardell and the team saying, okay, we'll publish that, Austin, just for you, all right? Anyway, okay. Does anyone have any questions? Yes?
Do you know what days the guest lectures are going to be on?
Yes, for Nathan Hainish, I do. I'll probably announce that after the exam. But maybe I shouldn't. Okay? Maybe I shouldn't. We're going to do it. We're gonna let you know ahead of time. Otherwise, you won't have enough time to get here. Okay. And then, of course, we got the big extra credit coming up. Game Jam, week after the semester ends. Optional, of course. You don't have to be there the whole time. You got exams to study for. You got exams to participate in. You got to travel a bit. You can slip out, slip back in. If you're not on campus, you can participate through Discord and show your game at the end of the period. Get your points, okay? That could help a lot. Yes? Yeah, so it's going to be, I think, maximum group size of 3, minimum group size of 1. So if you want to team up, you can. I will say it might be a little bit awkward. You might struggle a bit to add features to someone else's engine just due to the variance in the structure, internal structure. But I'll also say, if you're going to team up with teammates in the course, ask your teammates for their autograder scores, okay? Because you'd better choose the engine that's got most of the Lua functions working, okay? Otherwise, it's going to get real weird for you real fast when like the scene.load fails to work midway through the game jam, okay? You know, hey, why is get component just not getting the component? Of course it does, right? No, it doesn't, right? Oh, you got a new test case now. Got to go fix it. Okay. Anyway, I actually, when I've been making my engine, like, I found tons of bugs because I would be like, oh, I really want to make the shoot 'em up, the cute 'em up from the beginning of the semester. Wait, why is instantiate not working on the Fireball? Okay, and I discover I have this horrible bug relating to actor templates that I wouldn't have discovered unless I tried to make a game with the thing. One of the things that spooks me a bit about Unity is that they don't really make games, right? Seems like a serious disadvantage. Then again, when you look at Epic Games, they do make games. They got some of the best tech in the business, but their engine's just kind of crusty and it's kind of weird. It doesn't feel very elegant. And you'd kind of expect it to be a little bit easier to use. So it's a interesting situation. Anyway, like you'd expect them to have a half-decent, managed memory scripting language, like a C# or something. They don't have that. They don't have a Lua. You know what they have? They said, hey, everyone, we've heard you. We know that blueprints aren't for everyone. They're verbose, they're slow, okay, they're a bit ugly. We know that C++ is very annoying to use in Unreal. It's not really a scripting language. We know that C# is super popular. We got a popular C# plugin made by a third party. So guess what, everyone? We finally delivered what you wanted. We made our scripting language. You know what it's called? All right, everyone, you asked for it. Here's Unreal Engine Verse. What? What is Verse? Okay, it's a programming language we made. Oh, no, a new programming language. You know what stinks about a proprietary new programming language? And yes, I'm kind of throwing shade at Godot's GD script. Learning a language isn't the slowest thing in the world, especially if you know other languages. But if you want to justify an investment of learning a new language, what are you going to want to learn? JavaScript or Verse, which is used nowhere? JavaScript, which if you know it unlocks a seemingly endless list of job opportunities, or Verse, which no one has heard of. And it has a really funky syntax because Epic knows how they want to. What on earth is going on? I'm struggling to read this, which is not great. Anyway, okay, all right. I think Epic gets a little bit goofy sometimes. You can maybe I need to find a Wolverine at Epic so I can ask them about that goofiness. Okay, anyway, anyone have any questions to get me on to my next tangent as I burn time? Anyone? No one? Okay. Well, I don't want to burn your time. you can use this time to ask questions about the exam. You can use it to do flashcards. You can use it to finish up your auto-graded submissions. You can just kind of marvel at the first page of the exam. I'll let you do that if you want to. I'm only going to give you a little bit of time because you can see through the first page onto the second page, okay? You can look on the glossary and you'll see the number 24 in the corner. Okay, I want you to know it's a lengthy exam, but a lot of those pages are like giving you the context for the question, okay? So you'll read 2 pages and then you'll have a couple quick questions to answer on the third page. And that eats up a lot of space for just a couple questions, so that's why it's kind of long in page count, okay? All right. So, any no questions? All right. Well, yes. Oh, a question.
Will we have like lectures for the custom features at the end of Wednesday?
For which features?
Like for the custom features, like follow-up.
Well, it's going to get very high level. So I'll give you a preview. You're going to get Nathan Hanish here, who's going to talk a bit about the Stardock nitrous engine, I believe. And he's also going to talk about coding style that they have for C++ at Stardock and why certain things are banned. I'm going to tell you right now, some of the things we do are banned at Stardock, okay? And I don't apologize for that at all because I don't like their reasoning for a few of the more nice things we do. But we can fight with him if we want to during that day, and maybe I'll have to. But we're going to have Ravi. He's going to have a game-changing lecture on CMake. CMake is what you want to use if you're getting a bit tired of maintaining and updating an Xcode project and a Visual Studio solution and a Makefile for your engine, okay? And so that should be really nice. And you might say, Austin, why did you not just have us use CMake for everything and teach that at the beginning of the semester? I think I'd probably say that it's good for you to get into the internals of some of these files and to deal with them manually, just so you can kind of get a feel for how they all work, and then maybe we can then grab the industry standard approach. Ravi?
Also, so if you need CMake to do something specific, like I needed to change some notes I think only in Visual Studio.
Yeah.
If you actually know how Visual Studio works, you can actually do that. If you don't know how it works, it's stuck. You're never going to figure it out.
There you go. Ravi bailing me out. You heard it from him. It's a good thing we did this. All right. What else will we have? Nikhil has been bugging me for a long time. He wants to do a lecture on data formats, right? Which maybe he'll do, depending on how that goes. And we'll have some other lectures for you as well. We will have a final lecture that I hope you'll come. I'm going to show you how to compile the Godot project. With the, it doesn't use CMake, it doesn't use Make, it doesn't use Visual Studio or whatever. Well, it does. It uses a build system that's everyone's fan favorite. It's called Sconce. And you're going to love it. Anyway, I'm going to show you how you can get in there and start making contributions to Godot. And that should be a lot of fun. We're going to break open the code base. We're going to start making builds and making tiny little edits to get you into it. I'm not a Godot contributor. These edits are going to be pretty minimal, but it's really fun to go take an open source project as impressive as Godot, make some edits to it, and suddenly like your name or a message shows up in the UI, right? It's a fun little parlor trick you can play on your friends. In EX494, there's this concept of an editor script, which allows you to create new menus. I don't do this as much anymore, but in the early days of my reign over 494, I would basically, once you imported the Zelda and Metroid template package, the starter code, it would create the 494 tab at the top of the screen. Remember that? All the 494 students? And I would tell the students that I had to call the CEO of Unity to ask for that feature just for my class, and I got it. And people would believe me, I think, maybe just briefly because they didn't know about editor scripts, okay? So the trolling potential here is huge. And And so you should definitely come to these lectures. Hopefully they'll be really fun. And what's great is that you can kind of just enjoy them as entertainment because you're not going to be quizzed or examined. You're not going to have a homework on any of this stuff, okay? You just kind of enjoy it. And then what's going to happen is kind of 494 or 440 style. You're going to have a milestone for your custom feature. You're going to have 1 week. We're going to take a look at your footage that you record to explain what you accomplished, show it off. We'll record our own footage, giving you feedback on what we want to see, if you want to get a full grade, and what you should explore, advice. The staff is going to give you all that. And then you'll have 1 week to finish it up. And there you go. You're going to turn it in the form of a portfolio website, like always. And hopefully you'll be able to start talking about that in your resume. A week later, we'll have the final jam. It'll be really casual. Not sure where we're going to have it. Maybe at the library or something, or a Spark, or maybe here. I don't know. Anyway, that's going to be the semester. Okay. I'll be sure to finalize your grades to whatever they're going to be, and then I'll go and give you 24 hours to check your grade book, and you can send the grade grubbing emails for me to ignore. And but if you do find anything that looks off, like I forgot to grade something, or I didn't max out your quiz grades, which I think I just did for everyone, then you can email me and I'll actually read that, and we'll get it fixed. Okay, that's how this is going to work. There's also the 494 showcase on the 22nd and the 440 XR showcase on the 19th, which you're very welcome to come to if you want to. I'm going to start advertising those things very heavily. We do not have a showcase for this course, but we do have that final jam, okay? I was thinking about it. We just don't have enough tables or monitors for 55 game engines that are all the same except for one feature. I'd have to send you down the hall toward Dow in the Beister building, and we don't have enough outlets headed that way, and we're not going to have enough traffic headed that way, so it's going to be a pretty lonely experience at the end of that line. So not this year. Maybe in the future we can have a game dev expo or something. We can there's no good expo hall in Ann Arbor yet, so maybe we'd all go to Detroit on a bus or something. Get the Rensen maybe. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Does anyone have any questions before I let you go and stop wasting your time? No? All right, everyone. Exciting times. Don't let the exam weigh on you, okay? Just do the best you can. Have some fun with your engine. Make some games. We just saw a cool rhythm game. I think, was it Nick did that one? Okay, and did just a wonderful job already. Go make some cool stuff and let us know about it. It's very inspiring to see this. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe we made our own game engines and that they can make cool games like that pretty quickly. That's pretty special, okay? All right, everyone. I'll see you next time. I'm going to be here until 8 o'clock. 3 hours you got. Fixing up the exam, basically. And everyone online, I'll see you later, okay? Bye-bye.